Hello everyone. This is the report of Group 10 entitled New Products Proposal Development and Launch. Companies have increasingly found that to be successful in new product development, it's not enough to find out what customers want and create products for those who want. To figure out which new products play to a company core strengths, understanding how new products should be sold, and getting an early fix on a product's cost, here is the product development. So product development involves many functions within a company, not just the product manager. It is because product manager are frequently charged with the ultimate success of a new product. It is important to discuss their involvement in the process. Although new product development goes beyond the fiscal year planning horizon of the marketing plan of a product line, it is a certain portion will need to be addressed. In changing the new product development, Polaroid with 1993 sales of $2.2 billion has been floundering in the new product development front. It is to begin attacking the problem. So the company put together a benchmarking team to study how other companies handled product development. So the key recommendations were very similar to those endorsed by the field. So first, the company... Oh God, ba't wala dito? Ayun. First, the company must adopt a good process of product development that works for the company. So it is not the products but the process to create products that brings companies long-term success. Next, focus should be placed on platforms rather than individual products. This is especially critical in high technology fields. And finally, core abilities should be leveraged when expanding into new markets. Like Polaroid's Helios A10 laser imaging system, it is a new medical imager using a chemical-free digital process. So it was the first project to benefit new product regimen. So the company established a cross-functional team early in the process to both share internal ideas and obtain customers' input. So it is decided that Polaroid to create a product that would produce pictures that could be used with the ultrasound and would be in a format familiar to radiologists. So the price point, throughout speed, and other parameters were identified and frozen as early as possible. So sales cycle products. It is very different from traditional Polaroid products, so there was a lot of learning and effort into how we should bring to the customers, as Roy Miller says. So it launched to documentation and to process required significant care and cross-functional cooperation. Although it's too soon to tell whether the Helios A10 laser imaging system will be a commercial success for Polaroid. So they have been still benefit from a defined new product development process to increase emphasis on customers' contact and establishment of a system that will be useful for future endeavors of Polaroid. So every year, there has a searching and submitting product proposal to extend new product efforts and to develop project every milestone all over the years. So product innovation and speed of development are becoming increasingly important in our global economy. Although the role of the product manager in new product development will vary by company. The product manager at minimum should take care in understanding and articulating the market potential and in participating on the product development team. So this is the graph. The figure consists of idea generation to concept screening, project cancellation, concept development, testing and evaluation, prototype development and testing and evaluation, pre-launch, launch, and lastly the product evaluation. So product ideas concept that pass screening, management assigns representatives from the relevant functional areas to a multi-functional project team for this particular new product endeavor. So the team members select a leader who might or might not be the product manager to organize and monitor the project, guiding it through the path scheduled development by the team. All members do as many tasks as possible in parallel to shorten the product development cycle. So during the concept development testing and evaluation phase, the team attempts to freeze a product desired benefits by collecting marketing research information and developing the new product to review its capitals and others prototype. So the prototype development, testing and evaluation phase starts with the creation of a working model or preliminary version of the product. So this model is to put together use tests either inside the company's facility or by the customers. So alpha test refers to having the product used by employees or a department in the company. For example, a food item might be tested in the firm's cafeteria before testing outside the company. Beta test refers to having a select group of customers using the product under actual usage conditions. So these pairs could uncover potential defects and product elimination or redesign to make it proceed to pre-launch scale and production planning. The pre-launch phase is the period of final preparation for commercialization. Product managers pull together details for the marketing plan, and engineering and production complete final product drawings and tools. So during the launch phase, the product is taken to the market, possibly through a planned rollout. After launching or launch the new product project is evaluated with a goal or either take immediate corrective action or to improve the process for the future. So each of the stages is described in the following section from the perspective to a typical product manager. So idea generation. Ideas can come from a variety of sources, both internal and external. The product manager should be actively looking for new product concept. So do not only believe that there are already too many ideas. It is not just the number of ideas, but also their quality. The quality, it is the most important. So if there's no repertory for product ideas in the company, so you must create database. And to determine whether any idea should be dusted off, there is an re-examine generation. Executive summary. It is a brief synopsis of idea and proposed plan. Second, present situation. It is the fit of the product into the strategic plan and a list of the problems and opportunities that triggered the concept. Number 3, product designs. It is a benefits and advantage of the product along with how the product fits the company's total offerings with photos, illustrations, or other techniques to make the concept more tangible. Market analysis. It is an assessment of current and future markets for the product's competitive condition and positioning. Number 5, product development plan. Any resources or technology required for the proposed product. Marketing plan. It is the objective and strategies for each area of marketing, including pricing, distribution, advertising, sales, and product support. 7. Financial analysis, projected cash flows, income statements, and anticipated funds required. And lastly, supporting documents, which is the marketing research summaries or any other material that supports the project. Screening. The second step of the product development process is screening. In this stage, the product idea should be examined according to the screening criteria established by company's manager. So, criteria might include the following: fit within existing product mix, patentability, risk of competitive entry, ability to sell through existing distribution, compatibility with strategic plan, acceptable payback period growth potential, cost of tooling and machinery, compatibility with core technologies. So the criteria for a specific company could include or one of those factors. So the criteria should be developed separate from advanced or screening particular ideas. The third step of the process is the concept development, testing, and evaluation. So, it is an extension of screening whereby good ideas are refined and elaborated to assess their financial, marketing, and technological feasibility. The process is progressive, starting out with secondary data and in-depth interviews with a small group of customers, and then building to larger samples for more reliable estimates for market acceptance. So here, the product manager is heavily involved in determining the appropriate features and attributes to maximize customer satisfaction and in estimating sales potential and profitability. Concept development involves fleshing out the rough idea into a detailed product concept and expanding on the market size and attractiveness as presented in the initial proposal. So, it is a start with secondary data. You can conduct online research or you can search online to get more information or market characteristics, trends, and competition. So, you must look for any purchasable marketing research studies that had been conducted on market. In short, it is conducting your potential future customers and potential customers. Next, solicit input from key customers who are knowledgeable and cooperative. So these customers don't have to be representative, but they do have to be willing to suggest improvements and modification to the initial concept. Thank you for listening. Keep safe, everyone.
New products, proposal, development, and launch. Concept development, testing, and evaluation. The third step of the process is concept development, testing, and evaluation. It is an extension of screening whereby good ideas are refined and elaborated to assess their financial, marketing, and technological feasibility. The process is progressive, starting out with secondary data and in-depth interviews with a small group of customers and then building to larger samples for more reliable estimates of market acceptance. Here, the product manager is heavily involved in determining the appropriate features and attributes to maximize customer satisfaction, and in estimating sales potential and profitability. Concept development involves fleshing out the rough idea into a detailed product concept and expanding on the market size and attractiveness as presented in the initial proposal. Start with secondary data. Conduct online searches to get more information on market characteristics, trends, and competition. Look for any purchasable marketing research studies that have been conducted on the market. Talk with industry experts and potential customers to assess attitudes toward the product idea. Next, solicit input from key customers who are knowledgeable and cooperative. These customers don't have to be representative, but they do have to be willing to suggest improvements and modifications to the initial concept. Probe for specific modifications that could affect the sales potential of the product. What if certain features were enlarged or minimized? What if the product was harder or softer? What if the dimensions were more standardized, more customized? Is color important? How about location? Get as much input from these key informants as possible. In some cases, this type of qualitative research with a small sample is sufficient to develop the concept. In other cases, a larger sample is required to fully understand needs. When the Oldsmobile Aurora was being developed, the project team used focus groups extensively even before the first design were drawn. In fact, more than 4,200 consumers were interviewed nationwide, the largest such sampling in GM's history. Once the concept is more fully developed, it is important to test it among a large group of customers. This group will be more representative of the target market. There is no one-biased approach to concept testing, but most are variations of qualitative research and focus group discussions. Generally, several versions of a concept or several different products concepts that address the same need are explored in one concept test. This is because people usually provide better information when comparing alternatives, and the resulting information is more reliable than absolute evaluation. Product descriptions on cards, drawing of the concept, and rough prototypes can all be used as part of the research. In some cases, the product's technical documentation and owner's manual is part of this analysis. One approach is to ask customers to supply a price range. What is the highest price you'd pay? Above which you'd feel you were being gouged. What is the lowest price you'd pay? Below which you'd question the quality of the product. Another approach is to split the concept test groups into experimental and control groups. Given each group a different price for the same described concept and determine whether there are differences in the willingness to buy at the stated prices. A third strategy is to ask customers what value the new product would have over what they are currently using. A final approach is to ask customers what they would be willing to pay for the product and what features they would be willing to give up to attain that price. In each case, an intent to buy question should be included. At this point, the product team should attempt to establish a target price. The target price is necessary to estimate target cost for the developmental process. Design by price is an approach used by several companies in industries with rapidly changing technologies, short life cycles, and pressure on pricing. The target price depends on the value perceived by the market. Determining value will be different for low unit value, frequently purchased items, than for high price, infrequently purchased goods. The purchase of consumer packaged goods has an element of habit and inertia in the decision process. Higher priced products may have groups or committees involved in the process. The differences in decision making as well as the different decision makers need to be included in the analysis. By this time, the team should be able to list and display all the potential product features in a concept development table similar to figure 10.4. The figure shows an example of a bicycle frame. The first column lists the needs as identified through customers and lead user research. Note that the needs are what the customer wants to get out of using the product. rather than how it is to be developed. The second column contains the ranking or rating of importance of the identified needs. The third column converts the benefits into target or goals for the designers to use in developing the frame. For example, the desired mass in kilograms provide directions without specifying materials or production techniques. Also, the target cost range is determined by starting with the target prices and deducting an acceptable margin. Column 4 and 5 list the metrics for the major competitive products. By comparing the initial and competitive metrics with the importance rating supplied by the market, adjustments may need to be made in column 6. The final revised metrics are the output of the concept development and testing phase. Since this point represents a milestone in the new product development process, there should be a sign-off of the initial review committee to indicate their acceptance of the metrics, in effect freezing the benefit set. Although actual product specifications won't be frozen until after prototype development. It can be difficult completing the concept development table for breakthrough products. Customers do not have competitive products to use as their benchmark price. Therefore, the analysis has to start with the function being provided by the product. How is that function being done now without the benefit of the new product or service? What benefits and costs are related to changing the way it is done now? Then, both the rational and emotional motives for switching to the new product have to be considered and valued. To estimate a target price, several things need to be considered, specifically the possibility of competitive attack, the price sensitivity of the market, and the degree of competitive differentiations. Figure 10.5 shows a tree diagram with the considerations in new product pricing. For example, if the target customers are not price sensitive, the product is highly differentiated, and competitive response is not expected. It is conceivable to charge a relatively high price. On the other hand, if the price sensitivity is high, product differentiation low, and competition heavy, a low price will be necessary. Before progressing to prototype development, it is important to revisit the questions that were used to evaluate the initial project and verify that it is still an attractive endeavor. If the new information gathered results in the project no longer passing the initial screening questions, the new product may need to be modified or cancelled. This can be a critical milestone when another go or no-go decision must be made. Prototype development. If the proposed product passes the concept test and evaluation, it moves into R&D and or engineering to be developed into a physical product. Up until now, it existed only as a verbal description or a rough mock-up. Now it must be translated into a technologically feasible product. This does not mean the marketing is no longer involved. Rather, the product manager's job is to ensure that the core benefits that were the essence of the product concept are not lost during the development process, and the progress is being made on the marketing plan, trade name search, and other factors critical to new product success. That is why a project team approach is so crucial. After the prototypes have been developed, they should be put to rigorous functional and customer testing. The functional tests are conducted under both laboratory and field conditions to be sure the products are safe and reliable. Customers tests are conducted to be sure that the design is appropriate. Market testing, in-home testing, and beta testing are all variations of the type of test to be performed at this stage. Some questions to be answered during this stage are as follows. Does the prototype work as intended? Does it meet specs? Does it satisfy customer needs? Are there any anticipated production problems? Can they be overcome within a reasonable time and cost? Has production scheduling been finalized? It is on schedule. Have costs been confirmed? Have raw materials been ordered? Is marketing ready for launch? Are there minor modifications that can improve the product or its value without adversely impacting the project? Is there a need for a significant change that will necessitate a delay in the project? If all these questions can be answered positively, the product specification should be processed and the screening committee should sign up to indicate their acceptance of the specifications. Then the project is ready to move to the next stage, the pre-launch. Pre-launch. The pre-launch is the period prior to commercialization when the product manager verifies that all preparations have been made for the actual product introduction. During this stage, the product manager must identify all stakeholders and determine their information requirements. Customer service needs to be prepared to handle inquiries and fulfill orders. Technical support personnel may require specialized training. The distribution channel may require advance warning of any unique requirements of the product or service. Also at this time, there may be a need to consider a market test or simulated market test to determine whether the strategy is ready for introduction. Various use tests already should have determined the viability of the product, but the test might not have addressed the best way to go to market. Test marketing helps assess whether the right price is being charged, whether the appropriate message is being communicated through advertising, and whether the proper distribution strategy is being employed. Of course, test marketing is expensive in terms of both money and time. Therefore, it should be undertaken only when the risk of not doing it is great. For a typical test market, the product manager selects a geographic area that is a representative of the product's target market as possible and markets the product on a limited basis in the region. The key decisions to be made include how many test markets, which ones, and how long the test should run. Most companies select 2 or 3 test markets that provide good representation of their target customers. Good representation refers to assuring the critical demographic variables are dispersed in the target area in about the same proportion as exists in the total market area. The length of the test market will vary depending on the type of product. Some will require 6 to 9 months and others will need 2 years. The factor to consider is the length of the buying cycle, with the test market being at least as long as 2 buying cycles. Based on this information, a launch plan can be developed. The launch documentation should contain 3 specific components. 1. A milestone activities chart. 2. The marketing strategy to support the launch. And 3. An early indicator chart. All of these guide the launch and early commercialization. The milestone activities chart lists the desired dates of completion for significant activities such as purchasing equipment for the launch, finalizing package design, obtaining legal clearance, subcontracting specialized labor, and preparing the owner's manual. Each of these may require several steps and may vary in importance depending on the project. Their potential impact on product success must be considered in assessing priority. For example, electronic or high-tech consumer products require clarity in technical documentation to be successful. Customers are increasingly seeking simplicity in a complicated world. However, as a recent Businessweek article stated, plain English is a language unknown in most of the manuals that are supposed to help us use electronic products. The format of the milestone activities charts can vary from a simple list of activities and dates to more formal project schedule and control techniques like Gantt and PERT charts. The marketing strategy component of the launch materials details the tactical components of the launch. Branding, packaging, pricing, advertising, and all aspects of marketing are studied. As with the annual product plan, the new product marketing plan should start with an objective such as convert 25% of current customers to the product upgrade and obtain trial by an additional 25%. The marketing tactics will then be put into place to accomplish this objective. A sample outline for this new product marketing strategy is shown as figure 10.8. Some companies include all or most of the listed components. Others will need to be more selective. Line extensions might require only an abbreviated outline, whereas breakthrough products will need extensive marketing strategy plans. The final component of the launch documentation is a calendar of early indicators of potential launch success. Early indicators refer to outcomes such as the number of inquiries that can help predict or provide early indicators of the level of launch success. For example, histories might indicate that 30 inquiries typically convert to one sale. In that case, tracking the number of inquiries could provide an early indicator of future sales. Other early indicators might include the number of sales calls made on the new product, the percentage of distributors willing to carry it, the awareness level of the market, the number of facings retailers give to the product, and so on. After identifying the early indicators, the next step is to set time-based goal to achieve for each. The early indicator chart then lists the outcomes expected by the end of designated time periods, enabling the product manager to compare actual against expected performance without waiting for final sales data. With launch documentation prepared, the product is ready to move to the launch phase. It's worth noting that sales training may sometimes be required during the pre-launch phase. The information on sales training is presented in the next section covering the launch stage. Launch. The next step of the new product development process, launch, results in the introduction of the product into the market. Decisions need to be made about timing, geographic strategy, target market prospects, sales and customer service support, and final marketing strategy. Timing can be a critical component of the new product success. If competitors might be entering the market, the product manager must decide whether to get there first, concurrently, or after the competition. First entry usually provides an advantage, but if rushing results in a flow product, the result can be more damaging than good. Timing an entry with competition can neutralize the competitor's potential first mover advantage as well as possibly increase the potential market faster. Delaying an entry until after competition is in the market might make it possible to capitalize on competitive loss as well as benefit from any competitive advertising that educates the market. Timing is also important if there are a seasonal or cyclical aspects to a product, or if the introduction impacts the sale of existing products. It is also necessary to make decisions on a geographic strategy. On some occasions, a national launch is appropriate, but most new products start with a rollout strategy. Although the rollout might appear similar to test marketing, it differs in a couple of important ways. First, in a test market, the product manager targets regions that are representative of the final launch. This is not the case with a rollout. The markets are selected based on their ability to provide an early cash flow or to gain commitment from an influential market needed for the continued rollout. Second, the test market is a final test before the commercialization decision is made. The rollout is the first step in commercialization after the decision is made. The last part is fine-tuning of the introductory marketing strategy. This action plan details introductory pricing, base price and option pricing, press release and product announcements, direct mail to select customer shipping policies and procedures, channel and end-user communications, and training for the sales force and customers. The sales training in particular should help salespeople sell the product rather than simply pitch the product. The sales training that is part of the product launch should educate and motivate the salespeople to sell your product. In other words, why should the salespeople believe the product will perform as claimed? What motivation is there for them to sell it? For an existing product, the best proof as past sales success. For new products, a bit more persuasion is necessary. Results from test marketing or beta testing, statements from sales managers or other salespeople indicating their success in rollout region. Sales that you have personally made or trade shows and lead generation programs in place can convince salespeople that the product is worth their time and effort to pursue. In addition, financial and non-financial motivators should be considered. Higher commissions, better bonuses, and desirable contests can work under the right circumstances. Non-financial motivators could include customer input suggesting that less sales effort is necessary to be successful, the ability to sell the product along with another product with a minimal increase in selling time, or unquestionable proof of competitive superiority. Project evaluation. After or during the launch stage, some type of project appraisal should be completed. The main objectives of this stage are to improve future product development efforts and to move the product from a new product status to being an ongoing product requiring long-term maintenance. There may also be a need on occasion to relaunch a product that is not meeting expectations. The relaunch should be considered as early as possible, and hopefully will have been uncovered by the early indicators as discussed in the pre-launch section of this chapter. If the product is still an acceptable product, changes to the marketing strategy may need to be made to make it a success.
Good day everyone, my name is LORENO ROSALINDA from BSBA MM2 and I am one of the reporter of Module 10, which is New Products, Proposal, Development, and Launch. So let's talk about project evaluation. After or during the launch stage, some type of project appraisal should be completed. The main objectives of this stage are to improve future products development efforts and to move the product from a new product status to being an ongoing product requiring long-term maintenance. There may also be a need on occasion to relaunch a product that is not meeting expectations. The relaunch should be considered as early as possible and hopefully will have been uncovered by the early indicators as discussed in the pre-launch section of this chapter. If the product is still an acceptable product, changes to the marketing strategy may need to be made to make it success. Next, we have launching a new product to a new customer segment, the Catera. When Cadillac introduced the Catera, an entry-level luxury car, it had to shift from its existing market of older, loyal customers and appeal to a demographic segment unfamiliar to its dealers. To inspire dealership to get behind this new product, it created Catera College. The college consisted of 2.5 days of session providing information about the new customer's base and the vehicle itself. At the college, dealers drove the car and saw it taken apart piece by piece. For dealers who could not attend, Cadillac rented out theaters across the country. On the big screen, dealers were presented with an up-close look at their customers as well as the teamwork involving in selling the product. While the training itself was not an incentive to sell the product, it provided the tools necessary to make an incentives, such as contests, work, and both were tied to Cadillac Standards for Excellence or SFE awards. Dealership were awarded points for success in such categories as technician training, salesperson training, and customer service. Every month, each dealership receives its standing in the contest. The grand prize is a trip to an exotic locale with a twist. Just sending winners to the beach to drink cocktails and watch the sunset is not part of the Cadillac's game plan. The company has made incentive business seminars a major focus of trip. In 1997, when the Catera was being launched, the grand prize was a trip to Germany to see the Catera built. SFE winners appreciate the dual purpose of the trip. There are meetings in the morning to discuss way to better your dealerships. The goal is to get you to look at your store and find ways to improve it. says Ed Nemnich, President and CEO of Nemnich Cadillac in Jacksonville, Florida. Then you get some leisure time to enjoy winning the contest. Part of the product launch incorporated tests for dealers. They earned points for answering questions properly and had to demonstrate a minimum knowledge level to get into the program. In addition, selling the Catera was a requirement for dealers trying to win Cadillac's master dealer's status. Next, we are relaunching the advanced photo system cameras Fuji. Years of research and development through a consortium consisting of Canon, Eastman Kodak, Minolta, Nikon, and Fuji spawned the Advanced Photo System or APS. APS is an innovative 24mm camera system promising clearer, sharper photographs than possible with traditional 35mm point-and-shot equipment. Based on an agreement to protect the five companies against charges of collusion, the companies were banned from informing retailer and customers about APS cameras and film until February 1, 1996. There was also a common shipping date of April 15 so that all five companies would have the same marketing start dates. The stringent secrecy rules curtailed much of the research that would normally have gone into a product launch, as Fuji learned. Almost to the day the system was launched, information about it was kept from the trade press, photo retailers, consumers, and even from the most Fuji employees. This prevented the company from conducting valuable market research, information that would have accurately forecasted retailer demand for the product and enabled the company to create more effective advertising campaigns. APS system was officially launched in February 1996 at the Photographic Marketing Association or PMA annual trade show. All the players had unforecast and were unable to meet retailer demand. Therefore, they had to pull ads, and by the second half of 1996 promotions for the system all but died out. In 1997, Fuji and Kodak relaunched their products based on the common technology. APS cameras captured 20% of the point-and-shot camera market by early 1999, with an expectation of doubling that number by the end of 1999. This was aided by Fuji relaunch, a launch based on effective communication with the sales force, with supply chain partners, and with customers. So next, we have here the key to successful new product development. First, we need to know the market and what its need. Of course, we need to know the situation of the market and what the market needs. Second, we need to select new products that play to a company's core of strengths. Third, create a multifunctional project team early in the process. Get an early fix on cost and price. Get quality and price right the first time, even if it means delaying the launch. Freeze the product concept. Obtain commitment on what benefit it will provide customer after the concept development stage. Freeze the product specification after successful prototype development. Build checkpoints into the system to make sure the developing product still meets the initial criteria under which it was approved. Next, do not introduce a new product simply to meet a new product goal. Be sure it fits the corporate strategy and customers' requirements. Conduct alpha, beta, or market tests to gather user input. Include milestone activities and early warning indicators along the relevant dates in the launch control plan. Last, design a rollout strategy to incrementally reach the best market for the new products. Next, the many aspects of product line management. The product line management involves conceiving and developing new products, but also extending existing product lines and building brand equity. Different companies emphasize different parts of these product line management activities, and the given product manager will emphasize different aspects, depending on specific needs at the time. The product line management job is to oversee products. More importantly, is to find, expand, and exploit product opportunities. in its to do this manner that increases gain and rewards to the company. Developing new products. In developing new products, product managers use a variety of techniques to reduce risk and increase chances of success. First, product managers, particularly in a highly technical field, have learned to begin next generation products immediately after the launch of prior generation products. Intel started this approach in 1990. Second, developing simultaneous product based on a corporate strategy leverages the success of both products by adding momentum. Intel demonstrates this as well with its ProShare family of products. Third, generating several products from a common platform spread out developing costs and allow products to brought to market more quickly and at lower price. Hewlett-Packard benefited from this knowledge in the introduction of its color DeskJet printer. Finally, establishing barriers to entry for the competition afford at least a temporary competitive edge. Here again, Hewlett-Packard discovered this in its work in inkjet printers. Intel's next generation products. Companies are finding it necessary to bring out more products faster, particularly in high-tech field. Intel, for example, has been picking up the pace of product development in the face of competition. It used to develop microprocessors sequentially, bringing them out about 4 years apart as shown in this figure. The 6th and 7th generation chips, on the other hand, were in the process long before prior versions were introduced, with an emphasis on new application and strategic alliances. Note that both P6 and P7 were already under development when the Pentium was introduced. P6 is focused on new applications such as voice recognition and video conferencing. The P7 is being designed under a new architecture with Hewlett-Packard in 1994. An agreement was signed to melt Intel's traditional data processing method with HP's reduced instruction set computing or RISC technology to enhance the future launch of P6 chip as well as increase market potential for the Pentium. Intel developed and rolled out a new family of desktop video conferencing product for PCs. This new family of products will enable computer users to work on the same document simultaneously over regular phone lines. The new development activities are consistent with Intel's version of bridging the gap between communication and computer industries. As Tim Clark explained in the business marketing article, Intel sets $8 million campaign. As Intel has done, represent a couple of techniques companies have used to improve their product development processes. They demonstrated the need to be proactive and plan strategically for new product development as Hewlett-Packard. Hewlett-Packard's inkjet printers. In an effort to maintain its dominance in printers, Hewlett-Packard has beaten Japanese competitors by using their own tactics. Over a decade ago, Japanese companies had taken away the lead in handheld calculators, a market HP had pioneered. The success was due to a mass market strategy with low-priced, well-designed products. This time, HP took that approach with inkjet printers, as Stephen Uder explained in how HP used tactics of Japanese to beat them at their game. In the Wall Street Journal, they developed printhead that could spit 300 dots an inch and make ink that would stay liquid in the cartridge but dry instantly on plain paper. Hewlett-Packard established a solid foothold in the black and white inkjet printer market using these techniques. However, it faced another challenge in 1990. At this time, HP engineers were working on a color printer intent on bringing out a full-figure mechanical marble. Marketing suggested they build on the platform they had already established, since they felt this approach, though less sophisticated, would satisfy the needs of the customers. HP learned that you can tweak your not so latest things and get the latest things. Ms. Torpe says by sticking to the existing platform, HP was able to get the jump on the competitors, the now booming colors printer market, extending existing product lines, successes and failures. Sometimes, products are not completely new, but rather, they are product line extensions. As a product manager plans for line extension, there must be a careful balance between variety and redundancy. Fast-moving consumer goods are perhaps particularly vulnerable to this trap. In an effort to respond to competitive entries, to reach smaller market segment, to bolster short-term gain, and or to gain more shift space, many products managers offer too many variation of core products. Numerous examples of extending product lines abound. When Nabisco introduced its line of fat-free fruit bars in 1993, the cookie category was growing at the modest 2% per year. Nevertheless, this line is offering result in Nabisco sales increasing 3 times as fast as the overall market. In evaluating the situation, the company studied the effectiveness of the core products, niche products, seasonal and holiday products, and filler products. The percent of the line as well as percent of the sales volume accounted for each type of products are shown in this figure. By looking at this analysis, it was clear changes had to be made. Note that the core product generally followed the Pareto principle. 20% of the products accounted for 70% instead of Pareto's 80% of the volume. These were also the key products responsible for building company and brand reputation. Consequentially, Snacko managers changed manufacturing and delivery schedules to assure that the core products were always in stock. The niche products were holding their own, contributing 10% of the product line and 10% of the volume. These products were studied to determine in which market areas they had sufficient volume to continue and in which markets they should be dropped. Seasonal and holidays item provided 10% of the sales volume even though they presented only 5% of the product line. These items were maintained with additional store displays provided for active selling periods. Finally, filler products were evaluated even though the per unit contribution was greater than for some other products. It wasn't enough to upset the fact that with 65% of the product line, they were contributing only 10% of the sales volume. These products were carefully evaluated in terms of true cost and competitive need. The company decided to cut the number of filler products. The greatest cuts were in competitive areas where the company decided to use the shelf space to build share in the core products. In leadership markets, the cuts were more selective with the goal of blocking shelf space from the competition. So that's all guys. Thank you for listening. God bless.